Hello and welcome. On this tutorial we'll be looking at the for loop. Up until this point we've looked at running individual statements one after the other, but this becomes an issue when you want to repeat the same code over and over again. Let's say you wanted to display items from an array inside a list, or count up to 10. These tasks could be completed with multiple statements, but it could be a different story if we had 10,000 items in our array, or if we wanted to count to 1,000,000. Okay, so let's just set up what we're going to do. I've emptied out the index and I've commented out a lot of the script file as well. So if we add a bang and use emit, our basic document, throw on our script tag, and we'll press F12 over on our browser here and also start the server. So here I've already got a console log running the for loop. So just to explain it, we're counting from 0 to 10. As I mentioned in another video, the index starts from 0. So that's why we're looking at less than 10, because we'll have 10 items. And I've also got a count I, which references the counter variable, plus 1, just to eliminate that 0 index. And as you can see, we're counting from 1 to 10. So the beginning area of the for statement is the initialization. So we're setting up a variable called I. I usually stands for index, and this is quite a common practice. And then we've got our condition, and this is virtually exactly the same as what we did in the previous videos with our if statements. So this could be any sort of condition that can be true or false. And then from there we've got our final expression, or what to do once we have finished the incremented code that we're going through, and what to do after that code block is completed. Okay, so what we might do is set up an array of people, and we'll display it onto a list on the screen. So we'll just set up that HTML structure for that first. So we'll put a heading here. And we're going to just have an unordered list. And that's it. Okay, so this console log's doing no harm, so I'll leave that there. Okay. So let's have Neil, Mark, Sarah, and John. Cool. So let's create our for loop. Initialize our index to equal 0. Look at our condition, while I is less than. Now we could count the items in the array. We could say, okay, Neil is 0, Mark is 1, 2, 3, so while it's less than 4 in this case, but that people's list may be dynamic, it could be changing all the time. So in that case we'd say people.lev. And just for scope, I might put the unordered list out here, so I'll reference our unordered list. And then we can reference our array and use I as a pointer to say which item in that array are we going to look at. And we'll take our unordered list and append the child element to it. And there we go. It's looping through this each iteration and pulling out the names, creating a list item element, and inserting the individual from that array into that created node, and then appending it to the ordered list. Okay, so as well as that, you can also have your conditional statements within for loops. So we could look at this count to 10 here and say if I is equal to 5 for some reason. Maybe we don't want to print out 5 for some reason, who knows. Or say continue. And continue will just skip to the next iteration. And you see that it's skipped out 6 here. So if we were, because of this I plus 1, and there we go. And we can also do loops within loops. So let's do another for loop here. We'll just use a different counter number or index. And let's see what this spits out. So here we go. So on the first iteration, it comes through, runs this loop until it's completed, and then it sets the counter to 1, and then so forth. Okay, so that's really just the basics of the for loops. They can definitely get a lot more complicated than what I've shown you here today, but it should give you a little bit of an idea of how to solve any repeating code problems that you may have. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Cheers.